So, I just recorded a video right now, which I'm going to be scheduling for tomorrow. And this video is going to be scheduled for day after tomorrow. I was just thinking that recording outside in nature just makes me smile a lot more and makes me feel a lot better about myself. That's because nature is awesome, dude. Nature is natural, that's why. Yeah, nature is natural, dude. Big brain. And this is your sign to go out and sit in nature. Look at all this greenery. It yearns for interaction. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, dude. Nature is beautiful and it always will be, and nature is always welcoming, no matter how much you destroy it, unless you anger some cat. That'll rip your face off, dude. But other than that, I think spending most time in nature is one of the best ways a human can spend not only their free time, honestly, arguably, if you take 80%, not even 80, but 99, maybe not 99, maybe 90% of people who work normal jobs, being in nature will actually be more better for their physical and mental health compared to if they actually went to their job. Isn't that crazy? The work you do is so detrimental that being in nature is better than it. I mean, there are not many things that are better than being in nature unless you love what you do. Obviously, in today's day, that's but I'm gonna try to do that. Try to get there. Surely, slowly but surely, I'll get there. And I'm not sure if y'all can hear like the crickets, but it's just so soothing. This little breeze. Look at this tree, dude. I'm not sure. I don't see that tree. Oh, I'm not sure if y'all can see that. It's too dark. Look at my teeth. Look at these pearly whites. Anyways, yeah. Grounding. Grounding is also very important. It resets the charges. Earth has charges. If you're like very uneducated about self-improvement stuff, you should know that Earth has a lot of energies in itself. Now, if you don't even know what energies are, you need to study up on spirituality. But I will explain it to you. So basically, everything in this universe has energies. Everything. I have energies. You have energies. Cars have energies. Cycles have energies. Bikes have energies. Pebbles have energies. Cheese has energy. Everything has energy. Leaves have energy. Even, of course, living beings, you understand, but even inanimate objects have energies. That's why you hear ghost stories about this grandma who died in a scarf, and that scarf gets passed on to some family friend, and that friend dies a tragic death or starts seeing things. It's because I totally believe it. Of course, someone died in that scarf. Can you imagine the amount of negative energy that scarf holds? It's not that deep. All of these ghost stories, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are made up, but I think some of them are true to some extent. Of course, I'm not getting into ghost stories, but trying to explain to you what energies are. Yeah. So, yeah, why grounding is important again. So, now that you know what energies are, there's many, 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 many types of energies. But to put it simply, let's break them up into good and bad energies. Right? And of course, I'm not extremely educated about this, but I'm more educated about this than the average Joe or the average Jay. So, yeah, Earth has its energies. Earth, the entire Earth has an insane amount of energy, and this is the same. This could be considered the same energy Newton talked about. 3 laws of Newton, inertia, stuff like that. Opposite and equal reaction, forces like that. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the total amount of energy in the world remains unchanged. Like there's only a set amount of energy in the world, right? That's why people keep dying and being born simultaneously, because the energy is limited. So if one person dies, the energy will get too high or too low. To balance that out, a person is born, etc., etc., etc. Stuff like that. So yeah, the earth has energies, the environment has energies. This environment I'm sitting in, this entire place has energies, right? So, uh, getting back, what grounding does is that Earth's energies are really good for humans. Well, it sounds crazy because you must be like, but people are buried inside the earth. Yeah, they're buried inside the earth for a reason, because it has good energies. Where, in Hinduism we cremate and we put them in the Ganges River. That's because the Ganges River has good energies. In Islam too, they bury them because it has good energies. In Zoroastrianism, they feed them to the vultures. I'll think upon that later, but that's something to think about. I mean, they are also nature. They are sacred in some contexts. But yeah, so what Earth does is, when you ground, by grounding I mean taking your shoes off and stepping into grass, specifically grass, not concrete, because that's not really grounding. That's like just living normally but without shoes. So when you step on grass, Earth neutralizes all your energies, right? It's like an electric pole, a lightning pole, that's what they call it. So basically a lightning pole is something they put over houses, right? Because when there's lightning, so lightning poles are just extremely tall poles of iron. What these do is, when there's a storm, this lightning pole will attract the lightning. This lightning will strike this pole, and it will go down to ground. It will go down into the ground, and it will neutralize the shocks. Farmers also use these so their crops don't get destroyed. Anyway, so yeah, you are kind of like a lightning pole, but instead of lightning, it's just your energies that go into the ground, and the earth neutralizes these energies. And that is really good for you, because the amount of energy, like bad energy, I mean, not only bad energy, but yeah, good energies are good to have in your environment. But considering the amount of people who are sad with their jobs, and people who get caught up with everything and they don't really live life, they're kind of subhuman, with all of that in the environment, you're better off just neutralizing your energies, dude. Because unless you live with people you really love, and even then you should be neutralizing your energies. You should show Earth how much you love Earth, right? Because why not? I love Earth. So yeah, ground. It's good for your energies. You'll be happier, and do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.